Let's talk about AI. Specifically, is it already smarter than a person with a PhD? Now, I know that sounds like something straight out of a movie, but today, we're going to dive into the data and see just how close we are to making that a reality. So, let's get right into it. This question, really, it gets to the absolute heart of the whole AI debate. It feels like a future tense kind of question, right? But as we're about to see, the data is telling us that we need to start taking it very, very seriously right now. Okay, take a look at this chart from the latest AI Index report. It tells an incredible story. See that dotted line? That's the human baseline. We're talking top expert performance. Now look at that purple line. That's AI tackling PhD-level science questions. And in 2024, boom, it just shot right past us. It seems that in some super specialized fields, the student has already become the master. So how on earth did this happen so fast? Well, to really wrap our heads around that incredible leap, we first need a quick, simple definition of what we even mean by AI. Because, it's not just one thing. It's a technology that's evolving through three pretty distinct stages. This right here, this is the roadmap. Right now, we are firmly in stage one, artificial narrow intelligence, or ANI. The big goal, the one everyone's racing towards, is stage two, artificial general intelligence, that's AGI, an AI as smart as a human across the board. And then, then there's the final frontier, stage three, artificial superintelligence, or ASI, an intellect that would just dwarf our own. And this is super important to remember. Every single AI we use today, from the one that picks your next movie to the one that can dominate a chess grandmaster, it's all ANI. It's hyper-focused on one single task. But as we're about to see, this narrow intelligence is becoming powerful enough to completely reshape our world. All right, now let's get into the numbers behind this whole revolution. We're talking the money, the efficiency, and the research that are just pouring gasoline on this fire. So let's start with the money. In 2024 alone, private AI investment in the US hit a staggering $109 billion. To put that in perspective, that's more than 10 times the investment of China, its closest competitor. This fire hose of cash is the engine of the AI boom. But it's not just about spending more. It's also about insane gains in efficiency. The inference cost, which is basically just the cost of using an AI to get an answer, has plummeted by 280 times in just 2 years. This is what's making advanced AI accessible to pretty much everyone, not just a few tech giants. And this illustrates a major shift. In 2024, almost 90% of significant new AI models came from private companies, not from university labs. This means the race to build the most powerful AI is now being driven by industry, which has huge implications for where this tech is headed. Okay, let's go back to that performance chart for a second. Just look at those curves. It doesn't matter if we're talking about math, language, or image recognition. The story is exactly the same. A nearly vertical surge in performance, blowing past that human baseline in one field after another. So we've seen the data, but what does all this actually look like in the real world? I mean, how is this tech actually moving out of the research labs and into our daily lives? Well, it's moving from the lab to our lives with incredible speed. In 2023, the FDA approved 223 new AI-enabled medical devices. Back in 2015, that number was just 6. And autonomous cars, they're not a novelty anymore. Companies like Waymo are providing over 150,000 driverless rides every single week. This is happening right now. In fact, you are probably interacting with incredibly complex AI systems every single day without even realizing it. When you open up an app like Uber or Lyft, it's AI calculating that price, finding the fastest route, and matching you with a driver, all in the blink of an eye. And this impact is just spreading across every major sector. In education, AI is creating personalized learning plans for students. In healthcare, it's powering virtual assistants that can help check your symptoms. And in finance, it's that silent guardian behind real-time fraud detection, protecting your accounts 24/7. Let's just take fraud detection as a quick example. First, the AI system gathers all the transaction data. Second, it uses machine learning to scan for any weird patterns. Third, it responds instantly, approving, blocking, or flagging the purchase. And finally, and this is the cool part, it learns from that outcome, constantly getting smarter and better at protecting you. It's a perfect little loop of AI in action. So, where does this all leave us? AI is clearly powerful, and it's accelerating like crazy. But what are its limits right now, and what's on the immediate horizon? This quote really captures the current moment perfectly. Industry is racing ahead, but the frontier is tightening. Imagine a marathon where the lead runner is still pulling away, but that pack of runners right behind them, it's getting bigger and closer together. The competition at the very, very top is getting incredibly fierce. This gives us a really clear picture of where AI is today. On the one hand, it can solve math problems that would stump an actual genius, but on the other hand, it can still get totally tripped up by tasks that require real-world, multi-step planning. The kind of reasoning we all use every day without even thinking about it. And that's the key takeaway here. For all of its power, true, flexible reasoning, that ability to understand and navigate the world the way a human can, that remains the holy grail of AI research. We are not at the doorstep of artificial general intelligence, at least not yet. But the trend is just undeniable. On more and more of these tests, that gap between us and the machines is closing, and it's closing fast. So we end with this final thought. What happens when, across almost every field we can measure, that gap is finally gone? What does that world look like? That's the question we're all going to have to answer.